Hello and welcome to the OK Takes podcast. I am Matt, and as always, I'm joined by my fellow capo, Edward. As of 8:36 p.m. West Coast time, the Washington football team is an absolute dumpster fire. 56-14 ends up being the final score tonight, Sunday Night Football. And the real story is Darren Payne, Jonathan Allen coming to blows, even though it was just a poke and then a missed punch. But we could still say that it was a Donnybrook.
Yeah, it was a weak fight, but it's never a good look when you're down by like 40 points and you were fighting your own teammate on the sideline.
Well, I mean, that was the best part, is that it was like in the midst. I think it happened around the beginning of the second quarter. So it was still in the thick of it when people were watching. This wasn't like an end of the game fight where it happens with like 5 minutes left in the fourth, where two guys had just had it with each other in the season. So everybody's like, oh my God, you see what happened? So then they tune back into the game. They turn the TV back on. No, this was in the middle of the first half. And wow, what a perfect way to tell the world how bad things are going with the organization.
Yeah, it's just a really ugly game for Washington, really bad. Not how you want to perform in prime time, let alone at all. And to throw in a little teammate on teammate scuffle is kind of just the nail in the coffin, I think.
Because it's also weird that these two guys went to Alabama together. And maybe I think sometimes you do get a case of, it's like pretty much being in a car ride with a sibling if you're going on a road trip where, yeah, you might have fun for the first couple hours. But once you get through, I don't know, if you're traveling up to San Francisco, if you start in Pasadena, as soon as you start to hit Fresno and like San Luis Obispo, then you're really getting annoyed with the other person. I think it's one of the cases like that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, you're at each other's throats by then.
You're just sick of each other and you're sick of losing. Because I think an important part of what happened is that because it happened early in the game, let's take it back to last week when they got trampled by the Eagles. The Eagles ran for like 230 yards against them. So you have that, which is demoralizing. I don't care what, that's something the stats guys forget, and like analytic nerds, is you forget the difference of pain of like losing via, I don't know, a crazy pass game versus a crazy run game, is that it's play after play after play of getting your teeth kicked in, and it just wears on you. And I think that's what we saw, is that they're just sick of it.
Yeah, and I don't blame them. I'd be sick of it too. And it doesn't help when, like you said, you lost last week, ugly performance there as well. Come into this week, Dallas, big rivalry, prime time, point to prove, and then you lose by 42 points.
Yeah, everything was bad. Taylor Heineke, I thought maybe it was going to be fun. There wasn't any fun part about this game for Taylor Heineke. There wasn't any crazy scrambles.
I do have to say, though, early on in the game, I don't know if you caught this, but he had a throw where like the defender was like right on top of him and he did like a sidearm throw. And Chris Collinsworth said, like, that's as good a play as any Patrick Mahomes play has ever made. And I was like, looking back at it now, it's like he really just compared this guy to Patrick Mahomes.
Well, no, in that specific play, if both Patrick Mahomes and Heineke had to perform that instant or that similar situation, then yeah, I think Taylor Heineke comes out on top. But if you have him do anything else that involves being a quarterback on a football field, Mahomes probably takes them.
Yeah, maybe.
It's pretty much that and diving for the pylon.
Yeah, that's where Heineke gets 2 wins there.
If there's, exactly. If there's a combine and there's, like you said, the crazy sidearm throw with the guy on top of him or a dive at the pylon, give it to Heineke all day over Mahomes.
Yep, absolutely. But then like throw off your back foot as far as you can. Mahomes would run him.
The other 99% of playing a quarterback, I'd probably give it to Mahomes.
Yep, absolutely.
Oh my God. Yeah, so just awful. 7-22 for 120 yards. Bad day for Heineke. Bad day for the entire offense. Let's talk a little Dallas. Let's talk a little
The
Dallas
Ace.
because they were good, and now it's the time where it's like, oh my God, is this going to be the next Super Bowl contender? Well, that's the great part, is that we have next week against the Cardinals to decide what will happen, to see if they are for real. So it's probably going to be the most anticipated game, because you see what Dak did today, and in pretty much a half where it was competitive, you're like, okay, well, I guess this is a Super Bowl offense.
I definitely think this is a Super Bowl contending team. I am very impressed with Dallas. Um, I do question consistency. We've kind of seen them dip, and have some really poor games. And then we've seen them have games like this. But I think if they can put it all together and get hot and get going, they can go. The sky is the limit for where this team can go.
Mm-hmm. Well, they are getting hot at the right time. This is if there is any time to get hot right now. The one thing I'm still worried about, and I know it's kind of, I don't know, just splitting hairs here, but the running game still isn't good. To be honest, they ran for 108 yards tonight, and their leading rushers was Zeke with 37 yards and Tony Pollard with 34 yards.
I don't know. It's hard for me, and it's not just this week that their run game has been bad. I will admit that, but it's hard for me to say that, oh, well, the run game was poor and blah, blah, blah. It's hard for me to really critique that when your quarterback throws for 330 yards and 4 touchdowns. It's like you didn't really need the run game, and your defense and your special teams had a couple of touchdowns. So I was like, I can give the run game a pass this week, but also all year they haven't really been great.
Oh yeah, I mean, this is because the last game we covered with both these teams was when they faced off against each other, and that was the reason why the Washington was able to get back into it, because the Cowboys didn't have a good run game, and they couldn't just slam the door on them. They had a bunch of quick drives that didn't go anywhere, so they weren't able to use any of the clock.
Yeah, and so Dallas's run game is, all year they've been bad, but they were happy enough to get bailed out by the offense tonight, and they kind of have been bailed out by the offense.
So you get bailed out by the offense,
by the passing game. I mean, sorry.
Oh yeah, no, I was just gonna say, like, you get bailed out by the offense, but you just get bailed out by having an insane defense. Like, this is the day
that too,
where, I don't know, it's like prime time. We have Washington absolutely shit the bed. But then the other side of the ball, we have Micah Parsons coming out party. Not even coming out party. This is just him stunning on everybody party. Same thing with Trayvon Diggs. Like, we have features of the Suns. Yeah. So if there is anything to critique about the Cowboys, it's clearly the run game. And that's what I want to see coming up, is what happens when it's a tight game or they're up by 7 and just need, I don't know, 5 to 7 minute drive to close the game. What's going to happen then? So that's what I am looking forward to, because nobody wants to see the Cowboys win.
And also, I would be interested to see, potential NFC title game, go to Green Bay, cold weather, potential snow. You're going to have to be able to run the ball in a game like that. That, I think, is like the worst case scenario playoff game for a team like Dallas, is cold weather, windy, snowy, where they're going to have a Patriots Bills type game where they throw the ball maybe 2 or 3 times.
Ooh, nightmare situation where they're not able to bring their own benches.
Yeah, they can't bring their own benches. Yeah, exactly. There's just, I'm very interested to see what happens when that case arises.
Yeah, just scary. I mean, special teams play was incredible. So I just want to say that. I do want to damper everything. I would like to throw a little bit of shade and just be careful about the run game. Be careful. It's not a perfect team.
No, this is not a perfect team, but this is an offense where when all things are clicking, who can stop them? Like, I don't know if anyone can stop the Cowboys offense when it's all clicking. And let's be honest, it wasn't even all clicking tonight, like we keep saying, and they still scored 56 points.
Well, I mean, 21 on special teams and defense, but
Yeah.
so it's only
Right.
35.
Yeah.
But yeah, only 35.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Frauds.
Mhm. Yep. All right. Anything else?
No, I think that's it.
All right, cool. So now we have the rest of the slate for you right here. All right. So if you're hearing my voice right now, then it means the Washington football team covered against the Cowboys. So thank you guys. Appreciate it a ton. All right. Now it's time to get into some of the games from before Sunday Night Football. So we have first Colts 22, Cardinals 16. So Cardinals dumpster fire. They're now 0-3 since posting the L-shaped vibrator graphic after beating the Bears.
I mean, what other like stat do you need? Like that's hard hitting analytics.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we're not from PFF. We don't like to crunch the numbers down. I can barely do, like, for example, today I figured out that the popcorn I've been eating for a while now, it's split down into thirds. I can't do that math. So I just assumed the 1/3 was just the entire serving size. If you break it down to halves and quarters, I'm good. But yeah. Anyways, we're not math guys, but we do know one thing. You lose, and we've crunched numbers on this, when you post a butt plug.
Yeah, like that's just not a winning mentality, like not a winning graphic.
Mhm.
Turning
Yeah.
a like an iconic landmark into a butt plug is not
Mhm.
how you win.
No, it's just weird, kind of like flicking the bean as well.
Yeah, like it's like there's just a stupid graphic, and they're reaping what they sow.
Yeah. And things just honestly could not be going any worse for the Cardinals. Where do you want to start with this game? Because there's a lot of things we could delve into.
Well, I just want to come out and say that I said like this was a prove it game for the Cardinals, that if they won this game, I was fully in on them. If they lost this game, I'm out on them. So I'm going to stick with it and say I am out on the Cardinals. I think they're like toast. I don't see them going very far. And I think the Colts are honestly headed in a better direction, much better direction.
Oh yeah, very easily. Well, I mean, they did prove us something, and what they did prove us is that Cliff is very overrated as a head coach. I think it's fair to say that now, and they're going to look good for the first half of the season. Kyler's going to get thrown into the MVP conversation, and then nosedive the last 5 or 6 games of the year.
Yeah, which is disappointing because Kyler is one of my favorite players to watch. So I want nothing but success for him. I want to see him play deep into the playoffs, but just with the team they have right now, it doesn't look like that's going to be the case.
Mm-hmm. I feel like we kind of got a little bit of insight into how the entire game would go when Colt McCoy had an all-time Cardinal sin, laces out, and he had the laces in. Boom, right there. That was the first missed field goal. And then you throw on another missed field goal for Matt Prater, another missed extra point. You're like, wow, there was a lot of points left on the field from special teams.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just more proof that having a good kicker is very underrated in today's game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, really underappreciated. And we see it with the Chargers, who refuse to use a kicker. And now it's like with the Cardinals, they miss all these kicks, and it resulted in a loss.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, so we have the missed kicks, and then we also have the Kyler safety, just absolutely awful football. I don't know what happened there, and that's just classic miscommunication. And it's like, you're at home. You don't really have the excuse of crowd noise. It's not like you're playing in Indy, and that's something we saw Mac Jones affected by in their win last Saturday. So yeah, Mac was kind of rattled by the noise, and he wasn't able. They had like some false starts and here and there with the Patriots, but now the Cardinals, they suffered greatly, and they were at home from those weird things.
Yeah, it was weird. Yeah, the Cardinals were kind of like playing like they. It was really weird to see a really like brain fart like that with in regards to the safety. That just shouldn't happen, especially when you're at home. So just boneheaded mistakes that championship contending teams don't make. That's kind of where I'm at with them. We're at that point in the year where I'm looking at teams and I'm thinking, okay, does this team do what a championship team does? And the Cardinals don't.
Mm-hmm. And also part of having a championship contending team is a coach that knows how to throw good challenges. I think like that's one of the things that pissed me off the most about Cliff is the awful challenge he had in the first half of the game. So throws a challenge on a Nyheim Hines drop ball that he already caught it. He thought it was dropped. And the difference would have been 2nd and 17 versus 2nd and 10. And the Colts were like on their own 45. It barely changed anything. And they weren't able to challenge a play later in that same half. That definitely would have helped them. I believe it was on a Zach Ertz drop ball that they couldn't get a second look at. So that was one of those things. It's like, you know what? There's a lot you could blame on the players and injuries, but the challenges, that's all you. There's no one else in your ear. That's where you have the final decision where fans can judge. And that's where I'll judge is when you have all the power.
Yeah, that was really questionable. I think that Kingsbury has kind of always been overrated as a coach, in my opinion, but he's really starting to show that with this losing skid that they're on. I think that he's not really trying at all to adapt. And I know this has nothing to do with what you just said, but I kind of wanted to say that for a while now that he's overrated as a coach. But when you make dumb challenges like that, and then it happens all the time, you make a dumb challenge early in the game, and then later on, something happens that you need a challenge for, and you can't do it. And we saw that happen Saturday, and possibly cost them the game.
And then adding on to that, the final drive of the game from the Cardinals, where they refused to throw it anywhere but between the numbers, where it's like every single play in the middle of the field, and the Colts were gladly giving it to them because they knew that you're going to get first downs, but we're okay with that because they ended up with a 16 play drive that ate up like about 4 minutes worth of clock. And it worked to perfection because all the Colts had to do, like, yes, the Cardinals scored or they kicked the field goal, but then all the Colts had to do was recover an onside, which is like a 99% chance of happening, and you win the ball game.
Yeah, it almost felt like there was no sense of urgency on that drive because like the when you're trying to make a comeback, you want to score as quickly as possible. The last thing you want is a 16 play drive. And I understand you had to go 81 yards, but they could have done that so much quicker, and it kind of fell right into the palm of the Colts' hands.
Yeah, that's what the Colts wanted. And it's the reason why they were able to Kyler was able to have so many completions, kind of completely flipped his day around. But it was insane that the Colts just were like, yeah, it's going to be death by 1,000 paper cuts, but we're not going to die.
Yeah, I mean, they really could not have handed that to the Colts better. Like the defense was probably there, like, what the hell are they doing? Why are they winning us this game right now?
Yeah. So on the other side of the ball, big shout out to the Colts. Huge shout out to the Colts. I mean, just walked into Arizona and hung their nuts on the ground. And I think now the part that impressed me the most was Jonathan Taylor did not have a great day on the ground. Yes, he got 100 yards, but he was bottled up for most of the game besides like the 47-yard run he had in the first drive. But Carson Wentz stepped up and he had an all-time sling. It kind of reminded me of when like a third baseman is going to grab a bunt and just throws it off of 1 foot at the end of the game. That touchdown to Patman was absolutely insane.
Yeah, and I was going to say, as soon as Jonathan Taylor ripped off a 40-yarder on the first play of the Colts drive, I was like, yeah, here. I was like, they're going to win. The Colts are going to win this game. And then, yeah, that throw by Wentz was nice. And we said Carson Wentz needs to step up. And what is stepping up for Carson Wentz? 225 yards. 2 touchdowns.
And that's all it needs to do. And there's nothing wrong with that. You can, like with the formula that the Colts have right now, great defense and a running back that will eat up clock and a quarterback that can make plays when he's asked to. That's it.
Yeah, he's like a system quarterback, It seems like they've created a good system around Carson Wentz, and if he can play like he played Saturday night, then who knows what they can do, but he's never going to be that 300-yard guy. basically. He's always going to hover around 250, 220.
Mhm. But I mean, the goal for Colts fans is just to not worry about your quarterback.
Yeah.
You don't want to always be like second guessing. Oh my God, is this going to be the game where Carson Wentz throws 3 picks like we've seen him do in the past? But that's the big difference is that he knows how to hold on to the ball much better, at least in the last couple games. Well, actually, I don't even want to say that. That's a little too, yeah, I'm going a little too far because he almost threw the game away against the Patriots. I'll just say, as of Christmas till now, Carson Wentz looks like he's doing a much better job of holding onto the ball. There's no
Yeah,
denying
definitely. No, that is a stone cold fact.
that. Yeah, he's pretty much like every Christmas movie where he's very cold and he can't be formed. He can't get out of, I don't know, his own little spot in his head. And now he has some cheer and he's blossoming.
He is. It's been 24 hours since Carson Wentz looked like he was going to mistakes every play.
Well, I mean, it was the Carson Wentz that was trying to throw passes with his left hand from the end zone, from his own end zone.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. That guy's gone, dead.
Mm-hmm. And also shout out to the Eagles because he played enough snaps for them to get their first round pick from the trade.
Oh yeah. He helping out his old team.
Mm-hmm. So good for you, Carson Wentz. And like I said, that's the most ideal game for Carson Wentz. You're going to have to make a big throw down the stretch. He did that, and they won. And that throw was the difference of the game.
Yep.
Good
play.
All right. So shout out to the Colts, doing well. I don't think they're going to catch the Titans for the AFC South, but definitely snuck. They clinched the playoff berth.
Yep.
All right. So now we have Ravens 21, Bengals 41. So Joe Burrow threw for 526 yards, which is the most in Bengals history and top 4 in NFL history. And you know what? I'm happy they were able to run it up in garbage time.
Me too. I love the Bengals. Not a big Ravens fan. So I loved seeing Joe go off. Which Joe? No, both Joes played pretty well. Joe Mixon and Joe Burrow did well. But Joe Burrow, come on, 526 yards, 4 touchdowns. He was unconscious today.
Yeah. So, but a lot of the unconscious. So I would say he was pretty conscious, somewhat lucid for most of the game. And then the back half just was absolutely insane, where you really start creeping into 500 yard territory. And this was something that the Bengals have been waiting to do because they have been the little brother of the AFC North for quite some time, especially the little brother, the Ravens, for God knows how long, at least our lives. We've always known that the Bengals were a bottom tier team. Mm-hmm. And I can't imagine how good that felt for them. Also considering last year, the Ravens blew them out and ran for over 400 yards against them in an absolute blowout.
Yeah, and also after what what's the coach?
Wink Martindale.
Wink, yeah, after what he said, it's also got to be especially nice for Burrow.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that was and I've also kind of felt bad for Wink. Now, I know we were ready to jump down his throat, but classic thing where we only see a little blurb, we only see like a bit, like 2 sentences out of a whole paragraph long answer he had for a question at press conference, and it was fair, but yeah, it was very dumb, still a dumb thing to say. And I love what Joe Burrow had to say replying to Wink Martindale's comment, where he said, I didn't think it was a necessary comment, and then he had a little shit-eating grin afterwards.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was. I loved that. Really happy for Joe Burrow, and I'm glad he silenced Wink. Good old Wink.
And it's what you should do. I'm sorry, like if you kind of have to make a statement at this point for the Bengals, for the rest of the league, saying don't fuck with us. We are no longer the team that you thought we were. And this is 2 years removed from them having the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like their turnaround has been awesome, and the Joe Burrow effect is really starting to come into full bloom. And they're still like their offense, their weapons are so young. Like they're gonna be a threat for a very long time.
Yeah, and it's also very scary. Zach Taylor knows to trust in Burrow. and to stray away from the run game. So they're like Zach Taylor's his play calling has gotten much better because they're finally taking the deep shots that we've been begging for. Looked a lot different than how the game was going last week against the Broncos.
Yeah, and I mean, was it T. Higgins who went off today? I'm trying to pull it. Yeah, T. Higgins was awesome. 12 for 194, 2 touchdowns. And I mean, the fact that Jamar Chase had 7 for 125 and was their second best receiver of the day kind of tells you everything you need to know.
Oh no, they were all over the place, and that's like a really scary 3-headed monster. Where there's been some rumblings about them becoming the next best wide receiver core in the league, like some parts of the season, and now it's starting to they're starting to establish themselves as that. That's really insane. If you start thinking about it, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, two of those guys have experience. One of those guys is a rookie. And then you also have Joe Mixon as your running back. That's a really scary offense. And we've been begging for the Bengals, begging this entire year to put together an insane day of offense, and they finally did it.
Yeah, you're right. This has finally been their offensive breakout. That I don't know if there's a better top 3 as far as receivers go in the league right now. I certainly can't think of one off the top of my head that's as deep as T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, and Tyler Boyd.
Yeah, and they've survived COVID.
Yeah, they really have.
And honestly, I do wonder about what we were talking about last week's episode or last Thursday's episode about how Joe Burrow said it's hard for us to get COVID because we don't want to go out because it's boring in Cincinnati. Is really helping them.
It is. It makes me wonder how good a team from Oklahoma City would be.
Yeah, before everybody just runs away to the west.
Yeah, just no COVID or nothing to do out here, so no COVID issues. Put a team out here, Roger, if you're listening.
It's not going to happen, but yeah. I mean, yeah, so it's just, oh my God, insane. But then we also have to remember they're playing against the Ravens secondary that's completely decimated. Yeah. So I just had a quick little stat I wanted to pull up. So 3 guys who were playing a lot of downs or had a lot of play time today was Kevon Seymour, Brandon Stevens, Tony Jefferson. Kevon Seymour played 15% of snaps in week 3 and didn't play in 10 games. So those were like the highest amount of snaps he played was 15% in week 3. Brandon Stevens has yet to play in 35% of defensive snaps in a game this year. Tony Jefferson hasn't recorded a tackle coming in to this season.
Wow.
Or coming into this game this season.
That's wild. So yeah, definitely have to take that into account when looking at the score of this game.
Because I mean, let's be honest. So yes, it was insane. 525 passing yards, yada, yada, yada. But it's a JV Ravens.
Yeah, it is. It really is the JV Ravens team.
So I feel bad because you also have Anthony Averett getting hurt this game as well, which once again makes you even harder to do anything because now you're just down to practice squad, which is literally JV.
Yeah, and also they didn't even have Huntley at quarterback. They had their third string quarterback playing. So, and he looked okay. I mean, he wasn't bad, but yeah, like you got to take into account everything. And even though what the Bengals did was put together their best offensive performance of the season, what did it come against? You know, you really have to look at that.
Oh, yeah. Let's not forget how many teams Josh Johnson has played for in his career.
Oh, no. I don't have the number in front of me. So I'm excited. Do you want me to guess?
Yeah. Let's do over, under 7.5.
Under.
The number is, I know for sure it's over. I know it's for sure. All right, so he has played for. Oh yeah, Jesus Christ! It's like a CVS receipt.
Rattle them off.
Okay. All right, this is going to be a speed round. Okay, Bucks, 49ers, Sacramento Mountain Lions, Browns, Bengals, 49ers, Bengals, Jets, Colts, Bills, Ravens, Giants, Texans, Raiders, Washington football team, Fleet, the San Diego Fleet, the Lions, the Los Angeles Wildcats, the 49ers, Jets, Ravens.
Wow. Oh my God. Surprised he never made his way to the Saints.
You could have used them.
Yeah. Wow. That was like a CBS receipt. I was not expecting that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that there's less names involved in like the Declaration of Independence.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Jesus. So yeah, I feel horrible for the Ravens, but then I don't know. Every dog has its day. It's like
Yeah,
it's the
and
reason why you guys were good is because you didn't have many injuries. And now this is the
exactly.
season of injuries.
And Wink kind of brought it on them too. Let's not
Yeah,
forget that.
that was not a great move. That was not a smart move.
Wink's got to know better because he's got to know that he's going to be rocking with a JV team, and to make a statement like that set his guys up for failure.
Because you shouldn't be giving Joe Burrow any more motivation.
No,
Oh my
no.
God. It's like, oh my God, even like after the last touchdown to Tyler Boyd, he did a little Jordan shrug.
I love it. I love it when players do that.
Joe Burrow has the most unaccidental swag. Like after the game, he was in his little Santa hat and also had a Krusty Krab red t-shirt on.
I saw that. That was awesome. That was so awesome.
He just honestly, classic example of keeping it simple. Just be a people's champ. Give the people what they want. We just want to see a SpongeBob shirt. That's so simple. That's so easy. And that's a great way to make a fan base love you.
I was going to say, I wonder how many Bengals fans made that their Twitter profile picture in the last hour.
I mean, it has to be a ton because that's a simple, great picture. I know. I just am enamored with just how easy it is for him to be cool without trying to be cool, which I guess is the definition of cool.
Exactly. I mean, we saw with the cigar after the national championship college football playoff final, and now with the Krusty Krab shirt and the Christmas hat, like he's just a cool dude.
Yeah, and he's also like really stoic as well, and really just he's a really just like stoic, calming presence.
Yeah. He's just you feel good when you're around him, and when you're watching him play.
Yeah, so shout out the Bengals, man. Shout out the Bengals and Joey B.
Killing it.
You're right. Absolutely killing it. All right. Now, rounding out episode 65, we have Bills 33, Pats 21. Oh, I just noticed all three of these games the road team won.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
All right. So the Bills are the first team to win in New England in back-to-back years since the 05 and 06 Colts. That was really, I mean, it was close, but it was never in doubt.
Yeah. I felt like the Bills were going to lose this one, at least to me. And I know you just said that. But even when the Patriots made it, I believe it was 26-21 at one point, I was like, nah, I still think the Bills are going to do what they do and control the game. That's what happened the rest of the way. And good win. Great win for the Bills, actually.
Yeah, Josh Allen, this is probably one of the best games he's played all year. And it was just a smart Josh Allen as well. Like there was a couple who almost had a really bad interception thrown to JC Jackson at the end of the game. But besides that, it was such a clean game. Like for what we've known about Josh Allen's entire career is the classic no yes, oh shit, holy crap, close your eyes, pray that whoever is down there catches an absolute heave. But there wasn't much of that today. Like if you did some oh yes, holy shit thing, it was a smart oh yes, oh no, holy shit thing.
Yeah, this was MVP Josh Allen. This was what a lot of people were expecting him to look like all year when they picked him to win MVP. Even on the ground game, he ran for 64 yards. Like he was just really like surgical today, and he didn't make any mistakes really. And this is what happens when Josh Allen, this is what the Bills can be when Josh Allen plays the way he plays.
But I think I'm going to disagree with you there of what we expected MVP Josh Allen to be. I think the MVP Josh Allen we expected were crazy 40 to 50 plus yard throws that were like, how did he escape the pressure off one leg about to head on or get pushed into the sideline? And his longest completion of the day was for 12 or 28 yards. And then his longest rush of the day was for 25 yards. So there wasn't any of these crazy explosive plays that are going to be on the top 10 tomorrow. He was just really consistent and smart.
Yeah, and I guess what I mean is as far as stat line
Yeah.
goes, more so
Okay.
than performance is a better way to put it.
Mhm.
But yeah, as far as his stat line, like you look, if you didn't watch the game and you just looked at the stat line, you'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, this was the MVP Josh Allen, I thought. But you're right. Like when you think Josh Allen, you think his crazy arm, like 50-yard bombs to Diggs. You don't think the longest pass of the day or catch and run of the day being 28.
Mhm. But it worked because that's what you
Yeah.
have to do against a defense like New England's, where you just have to be so goddamn smart. You can't have really any turnovers
Mhm.
because obviously the Patriots will find a way to turn that into 7 or 3 points. And it was incredible. Now, also hilarious moment, Stephon Diggs, after scoring a touchdown, going to pointing to New England fans going, you, shut the fuck up. Oh my God. What a power move. He just took over the entire stadium in those 5 seconds.
Oh yeah, dude. I love that. That was awesome. So
Mhm.
funny. I love Stephon Diggs, man. He's so fun.
Mhm. I can't imagine the power that comes with that, and just that you feel just driving throughout your entire body, the electricity. Because
Oh.
how if you're a fan and that happens, is that I'm a fan that happens to me, I'm sitting on my hands the entire game.
Yeah, I'm afraid to cheer the rest of the game.
Mhm. I do feel like that there's going to be a price on my head afterwards.
Oh yeah, yeah. You're definitely gonna have some to your car.
And like if I'm going to talk, it's only to go to the concession stand. That's literally the only time I use words is to say, yeah, 2 hot dogs and a bag of chips. And then on my way down, just
Yeah.
ask people or say, excuse me to people so I could get in my seat.
You're stone cold during the night.
I would make like a tree. I would literally
Yep.
have the same amount of input as the bleacher I'm sitting on.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no difference.
And then, so John Boy posted something where it said the duality of man, because yesterday he ordered McDonald's and tipped all 6 workers $200.
To go from doing that to telling people fuck you, fuck you, fuck.
Is
Oh,
that not,
it's
yeah,
awesome.
is that not the duality of man? I think
That
that's
is the
perfect.
yeah,
Yeah.
that is the perfect caption for that.
That we go, it's kind of hilarious how football players will go from being like being like some of them being like super nice, down to earth, philanthropic, always willing to hand out what they don't need, and then walking up to a person, looking them eye to eye, just staring daggers, saying "fuck you."
Yeah, it just shows like what the game does to someone on the field, how tough you need to
Mhm.
be, and how like kind of like a menace you need to be really to play the game.
Yeah. So let's talk some Patriots. So I don't know how we haven't discussed much Mac. You didn't text about it at all. But what are the overall thoughts on Mac?
He's a rookie. He's a rookie. He had a rookie game. I'm not going to overreact to 14 for 32, 145 yards, 2 picks, no T. Like he wasn't great. He's a rookie. These games are going to happen. It just took him what 15, 16 weeks of the year to have a really bad like rookie game.
No, I think he's had back-to-back rookie games. I'm going to classify the game against the Colts as a bad rookie game as well.
Yeah, true. Yeah, fair. But yeah, I'm not worried. He's a rookie. He's still going through the motions.
Well, I think the problem with Mac Jones is that we praised him during like the win streak, especially the game against the Titans, where all he had to do was make 2 or 3 like really nice throws through tight windows, and then he automatically was upgraded to to gunslinger or
Yeah.
gunslinger who can manage a game. But now we've seen now with the Patriots offense, well, they're not able to have as much production in the screen game. So now when you shut down the screens and you shut down the runs, and you're forced to have Mac Jones do something, I just don't think he's at the do something stage.
No, not quite yet. He's still, like you said, a gunslinger who can manage a game. He's not quite do something yet.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I'm going to downgrade him back to game manager.
That's fair. That's fair. We
I'm
can,
going to
yeah, we
downgrade
can
him.
bring him back down. Yeah.
Because that's the thing is that like if one part of the offense is shut down and you have to improvise, like for example, Josh Allen, incredible at improvising. And then
Yeah.
when you look at Mac Jones, it's not really the same thing where he could just make a play. Like that's why Josh Allen is among the top 5 QBs, because he could simply make a play. He could take nothing and make it something. Mac Jones takes nothing and leaves it as nothing.
So is Mac Jones' final form going to be a gunslinging game manager who can make a play? Is that what we're going to call him in his final form?
My opinion, my final form of Mac Jones is still going to be a gunslinger who can manage a game.
You don't think he could take that next step up?
I don't. Yeah. Well, no, because like I just don't think it's ever been part of his like repertoire. I don't think it's something that we've known Mac Jones to be. Like Mac Jones, if there's guys open, he will hit them. If there's not guys open, then he will struggle. Like Alabama kind of always had guys wide open, and he knew how to throw to them, and he should be praised for what he did at Alabama. But as far as it's translating to the league, like if there's nothing there, then that's it. That's where the play ends.
Yeah. That's fair. That's a fair assessment.
As far as like the Russell Wilsons or the Mahomes, who could just really, I mean, that's what separates the great between the good and the game managers. Can you have something where there's not much there already, like a screen pass where nothing's there? Can you roll out the pocket, scramble, and then take it, I don't know, 8 to 10 yards? No, he doesn't have that ability. If the first option's not there and the second option's not there, then you're shit out of luck. He can't make something out of nothing.
Yeah, you're right. For a guy like Mahomes or Josh Allen or Russell Wilson, there's always an option. You know, there's always a way to get out of it. If no one's open downfield or if there's no check downs open, then he can roll out and make something happen. There's always going to be another option for a guy like Mahomes. Whereas with Mac Jones, that other option, that bailout option, is probably not going to be there.
Mm-hmm. Now, it's also have to say with Mac Jones, his options just aren't great. Kendrick Bourne was today, was not very good. 2 catches for 33 yards. Jacoby Myers was his really best and kind of only target today. He had 6 for 59. But the person that I would like to single out is N'Keal Harry. Had 2 catches for 15 yards. And for all the praise that we give Belichick for the insane draft picks he has over the years, kind of known as a smart front office guy as well, the N'Keal Harry pick is absolutely awful. Absolutely awful.
And I think it shines a little more for us because we know people, we have friends that go to ASU who hyped him up to be the next, Randy Moss, and here he is now sucking in the NFL. But yeah, that was a pretty bad pick, especially when you take into account who he was picked over.
Yeah, that's the problem. If you're a draft pick in the first round, you better hope that everybody else in your position sucks. The same thing, we love to make fun of the Eagles for drafting Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson. And so when N'Keal, Devo was drafted after him. He's been incredible this year, like a top 10 player. DK was drafted over him, and AJ Brown was drafted after him. So those 3 guys, DK, Debo, AJ Brown, drafted after him. And I don't even want to think about what the Patriots offense would be if they had any of those options.
Yeah, it's just a massive whiff. If Mac Jones had one of those guys, yeah, it would be quite a sight.
Well, also, it wouldn't be Mac Jones. It could be Brady.
It could still be Brady. Yeah. Good point. Yeah.
Yeah, because N'Keal still hasn't gotten over 400 yards in a single season, and he won't have 400 yards this season.
No, he probably won't next season.
So yeah, that'll always just be a big miss. They missed on that one.
It'll always be a big what if for the Patriots.
Yeah, and we are starting to see the vestiges of that throughout this year and then also possibly next year. They haven't hit on a wide receiver, and that's big.
That is big. Yeah, that is big. Any good QB is pretty much just as good as his best wide receiver, you know. So Mac Jones is going to need a go-to guy.
Mm-hmm. And Nelson Aguilar was out today. Then we also haven't seen much of like Jonnu Smith was a pickup this past free agent pickup this past offseason. He didn't do much today, really hasn't been above the full name at all this season. Hunter Henry wasn't much today and hasn't been a top 5 tight end like the Patriots probably envisioned. So yeah, so there is some problems here for the Pats. There are some problems here. 2-game losing streak. They're kind of stumbling into the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, that's a clear weapons issue. And, you know, where they're at their strength is when they run the ball, but that's not always going to win you games. Like we saw today, Damian Harris was incredible. But when your best receiver, like you said, is 6 for 59, which isn't a bad game, but that's not going to win.
Mm-hmm.
So they clearly need to add some big names at the skill positions this offseason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I guess this is how I'll end the show. So shout out to the reporter asked Bill Belichick and also other players on the Patriots if they had any New Year's resolutions. And I'll insert the audio clip right here. Yeah. You could just tell how pissed off Bill Belichick was, but shout out to the reporter because that takes some massive balls to walk in to a presser like that where everybody is on really thin ice and to drop that. Do you have any New Year's resolution bombs?
Yeah, I love that. Well done by that reporter.
Because you know that like, it's not a bad question, but maybe context. I would ask it if it was a press conference, I don't know, after a win and not even after a win, but during the week, kind of the priorities of questions.
Yeah. Not gonna ask that question after a huge loss in a division race against your biggest rival.
And I'd like to tack on a humiliating one at that.
Yeah. Probably not the best place to ask the question, but I gotta respect the wave.
Yeah. Big balls. I could appreciate that because it was very innocent. That's the thing, is that it was very innocent and it meant well, but this is Bill. Like I'm wearing the shirt right now. Don't fuck with him.
You gotta know who you're asking.
Yeah. Hilarious though.
Yeah.
All right. Got anything else?
No, I think that's it.
All right, sweet. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to episode 65, OK Takes. If you'd like to follow myself on Instagram and Twitter, you can find me at MattWarner20. Like to follow Edward on his Instagram and Twitter, you can find him at Edward_Vento. And if you would only like to follow the OK Takes podcast on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, find us at the handle OK Takes Pod. That is OKAY Takes Pod. OKAY Takes Pod. Takes 2 seconds and will help us tremendously. If you'd also like to find video versions of the episode on YouTube, make sure to subscribe to the OK Takes podcast. All right. So thank you guys so much for tuning in and have a wonderful day.